Good morning, parents. Good morning, carers, and welcome to video number 4 to do with being ready for school and getting ready for your child starting their really exciting adventure by coming to Glebe Primary School in September. And I hope you're looking forward to it, although it's going to be a little bit different because of the coronavirus. We don't know where we're going to be as far as that's concerned come September, but the likelihood could well be that it'll be a little bit different. And that's why these videos are going to be really important, because as we go through the next few weeks and month or two, we'll be able to keep you right up to date with where things are in terms of what we're anticipating so far as September is concerned. So just as a little bit of a recap, Mrs. Crutchfield will be the new head teacher come September. She begins her role on the 1st of June and will begin to communicate with you much more than we're doing at the moment. And she has appointed her own new early years leader, name of Mrs. Meg Rawlings, who will lead early years from September. Already Mrs. Rawlings has shown you some examples of what we're wanting early years to look like and what the learning is to be like come September. And during the course of this week, Mrs. Rawlings is going to begin to contact the nurseries to have some conversation with them about your children and to begin to get to know them from that perspective. And then I'm certain that in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to set up some conversations with yourself about your child as well. And Mrs. Rawlings and Mrs. Crutchfield will be organising that for you. My job has been to really help you to use this very valuable time that we have between now and when your child starts school properly in September to begin those preparations that are so important for life in reception classroom, which actually could well be a little bit different because of social distancing and measures that might be in place by September. There's just a few key things that I want to build on what we've talked about before. The important things in terms of your child starting school in September is that we are able to, or you are able to, build on their independence, their ability to be able to dress themselves, keep themselves clean, change their clothes for PE and change back again, the ability to be able to take themselves to the toilet and be able to use the toilet and wash their hands afterwards without there needing to be adult support there all the time. You can just imagine if we had 30 children who were not able to do that, how the teaching assistant in the classroom would not be able to aid any learning at all because they would be constantly supervising the toilet routine. And we are not expecting your children to need our TAs to do that unless there's a medical reason why. So really important that they are dry and able to use the toilet independently and get themselves dressed and wash their hands afterwards. Now, I know that might seem a tall order, but it's May. And we've got at least 3 months until your children will begin school. So 3 months of really good practice is going to be really, really valuable. In terms of speaking, crucial. Lots more of our children seem to be arriving at reception not with speech where it should be. Now, I know that some of you have already indicated that your child has got a speech and language issue. We completely get that and we can work with them on that. But children need to be able to communicate. They need to be able to ask questions and listen for the answers. They need to be able to respond to instructions. Please sit down. Please go and do this. Please, could you bring me something. They need to be able to do that. And if your child is not very confident at that at the moment, that's absolutely crucial to them being able to start school, listen and respond to the things that different people will ask them to do. Next is to do with food and eating. It's really important that the children are able to do one of two things, and best if both. We need the children to be able to use a knife and fork. Now, that's quite a really grown-up skill, but most skills like that absolutely will come with practice. Now, certainly where there are things on their school dinner that need cutting up and they need help with, we will absolutely be there to help them with that. And while we're doing that, we'll be teaching them how to use the knife and fork and expecting them the following day to have a go. What we're not wanting to see from your children is them picking up peas in their hands and eating food with their hands. Unless, of course, there is a cultural expectation from you that that's what they do. But a knife and fork, we need to practice this with our children so that they are able to confidently start eating their food with a knife and fork and do it well. I have to say, this year's Year R children have been magnificent in doing that. They really have. And they've done a great job. But it is crucial that they can do that. If you don't want your child to have a school dinner and they're going to have a packed lunch, then it's really, really important that your child is able to open everything in their packed lunchbox. Some wrappings around certain foods are really, really tricky for children to open. Things like cheese strings, things like yogurt tubes, really difficult for the children to open. So think about that and think about helping your child to become independent in that. Sometimes parents buy beautiful things like little pieces of cheese, and yet the children can't unwrap them. So to take those out or cut off a slice of cheese and to wrap it in foil or some kind of wrapping would absolutely be brilliant, because then the child would be able to unwrap it themselves and eat it. Please help your child when you go on a picnic to begin to open their lunchbox and do that themselves. And then that will be a really good indicator for you to know whether they are able to do that or whether you need to think a little bit more about what can be done as far as that's concerned. Routines are going to be really, really important in school. The children are going to have to be up and dressed and ready for school at certain times, and attendance is really, really important for young children. So make sure that your child already has some kind of routine, that we get up, we get washed, we clean our teeth, or we have our breakfast, we clean our teeth, we're dressed, we're ready to go. Whatever that routine is, make sure the child is used to that routine so that come September, they'll be able to fall into that routine. Now, during their time in school, your child will eat their lunch at around about 11:45. That's just the way the timetable works. So to begin to talk to your child about, oh, we're going to have lunch early today because this is when we would normally have it when you're at school, would be a really, really good thing to do. Then we come on to very simple things like counting, recognizing color, recognizing shape. And you can do this anywhere. There doesn't need to have to be access to outside to do this. You can count anything. Knives and forks when you're starting to have tea, cups, saucers, plates, anything. And some of our children this year have been brilliant at counting way beyond 20, 30, 40 and understanding what each item actually means. So enjoy it together. Enjoy counting things together. It doesn't matter what you count, but just start counting. and get the children to say the numbers with you when you're counting. Look for some number rhymes that you could tell the children. Online, there are very, very many. And try to get to the stage with your child when, if you say, show me 4 fingers, they're able to recognize that 4 means 4 of those fingers, or 4 cups, or 4 plates, or as long as they're recognizing that one item represents 1. And then things like colors. So when you go on your daily exercise, which you can do as long as you want to now, recognizing colors, looking for shapes, naming the shapes, and the children becoming familiar with those shapes. And then being able to recognize letters and words, all those very simple things as you are going round on your walk, identifying colors, shapes, numbers, letters, words, and setting them the enjoyable challenge of beginning to recognize those numbers, count those numbers, see words, see letters, and begin to do some of that together. And that is enough for today. So we've talked about quite a lot today. Please look at the video a couple of times if that would be helpful. And we will put our 5th school readiness video up here on Friday this week. Friday, ready for half term. Thank you so much. Look forward to meeting you all very soon. Thank you for preparing your child for school. It's going to be essential. Thank you. Bye.